Story 1. 3 cats until several months ago, now 4. All from different litters. All fixed. When it was just the 3 girls, they had a shifting power dynamic that my wife and I called the triple détente. When the male was added, things got weird. He terrorizes one, creepily stalks another, and is terrified of the third. This has created a bizarre new dynamic with a top cat, the female that terrifies the male, for the first time in years. Story 2. My hamster waits until my dogs are asleep and then runs on her wheel, which wakes them up. Then she stops until they fall asleep again. The mini mules keep fighting over who gets to lie on the soft spot next to the gate. One cat has been sleeping in another's favorite spot, and she gets so offended that her spot is taken. She sits there and glares while waiting for the other cat to move. We have 2 goats that came from a dairy farm who don't want the other goats to get all the attention. So they chase them off but are still too scared of us. So they stand there and stare at us instead. My Gurumi begs worse than my dogs and constantly wants food. How can I say no? He's starting to learn how to spit water to get attention too. I hand feed my one gecko often, and now she bites my fingers every time I try to do something in her enclosure. One of the cats won't drink water unless it's from the faucet. The coyotes were around the other night, and one of the cats is trying to keep us humans and other barn cats inside. He blocks our way or grabs us if we try to go outside. He's literally the best cat. He brought home a stray kitten, and they do everything together. It's breeding season for the turkeys. Apparently, our one rooster can fend off 4 toms on his own pretty easily. Toms can get pretty nasty. Don't mess with the rooster. We live on a farm. There's always something going on. Story 3. The dachshund will not stop invading the beagle's personal space. The crate, to suck on her ears. The beagle has had it and wants it to stop. 2 things though. 1. Beagles have a really hard time being stern and intimidating. Dachshunds are not easily intimidated. So this morning we had 40 minutes of beagle growling, not very convincing sounding, and dachshund sass barking back, ending up as usual with an annoyed beagle with soggy ears. This is hopeless. Story 4. In college, we lived on the 2nd floor and would leave the sliding glass door open with the screen door shut on nice days. We would often come home to find my dog stuck on the balcony. We figured out that my roommate's cat was opening the screen door to let the dog out and then closing the door. Story 5. My roommate has 2 large male dogs, and I have a small female dog. My roommate's male dogs like to roughhouse and play around sometimes. Whenever they get too loud, my little dog will raise her head and growl ever so slightly, just enough for them to hear her. As soon as she does, they stop for a minute and start playing quieter. It's surreal to see. Story 6. My 2 dogs like the same bed, so they will fight over it until the end result is that they both just sleep on it, while the other bed goes unused. I don't see the difference between the 2. They are both super soft. Story 7. 3 cats, 2 on purpose and then a happy accident for the 3rd. Miku, Chloe, and Oliver. Oliver wants to play constantly, and both the girls hate that. They'll cuddle with him to share a lap, but they get so mad at him when he tries to play. They don't hurt him, though, just swatting with no claws and growls. Whenever they try to do that, he runs to my mom and cries until she picks him up. He's definitely got youngest child syndrome. Story 8. I have 2 sibling cats, a boy and a girl. The girl developed heart problems and wasn't eating as much, so the boy cat took advantage and was eating a lot of her share. Now she's a little too skinny, and he's gotten fat. I need to separate their food, so I got an automatic feeder for the boy cat and made a feeder box that only the girl cat could fit in, which made the boy cat mad. He eventually gained the confidence to squeeze himself into her feeder box, which is frustrating if I ever need to be gone for the weekend, as he'll eat all her food before she touches it. My solution is to put a little inflatable collar on him when I'm gone, so he has a barrier besides his fat to keep him from going in. I also had to barricade his automatic feeder because he kept beating it up to get loose kibbles. Now he stares longingly at that feeder all day. Story 9. The dog does not like when the cat gives him dirty looks. The cat knows this, will deliberately stare him down, and then expertly leap out of the way when he goes to chase her. Story 10. Love this question. I have 2 cats. One is a bit dramatic, And there's always this stray cat that comes to stare at her from a distance. It never gets close, but my cat yells like she is being attacked. When I go out to check, the stray cat is on the other side of the sidewalk, and my cat is at my door all curled up. All this happens, and my other cat just stares through the window with dislike for my yelling cat. I am ashamed of my cat because her yelling is super loud, and all my neighbors know it is her causing drama. Story 11. We got a puppy 2 weeks ago. Our elderly cat is furious when we do dog training sessions because the cat deserves the treats instead. We end up doing joint training sessions, and the cat is actually much more consistent than the puppy. Story 12. 2 cats. I opened the window for the first time this year since the weather is finally nice. They have been pushing each other away for the best spot to smell the air. Story 13. I have a cat, a puppy, and a dog. The cat likes to lure the puppy under the bed, and he can get under but get stuck in the middle where it's the lowest. I have to rescue him, usually around 2 in the morning, and he wakes me up by scratching the floor trying to get out. The cat also likes to knock off things from the counter that he knows the puppy should not be chewing on. The puppy and cat like to wrestle with each other, but the dog doesn't like the ruckus and barks at them to stop. The cat doesn't like the barking, so then he chases the dog. The puppy follows the cat, and there's a train of 3 Tom and Jerry style through the house. At the end of the day, though, they are always in a big cuddle pile, so I think they'll be okay. Story 14. I don't anymore, but I once had both a cat and a guinea pig some 25 years ago, and they seemed to hate each other. Whenever my cat got near the cage, the guinea pig would start squealing aggressively at the cat, and the cat would swat at the cage while sporting a look of utter disgust. That was a daily routine. It was the first thing that happened in the morning, and it lasted a minute. Then they didn't bother each other for the rest of the day, and the cat could even nap on top of the cage at times without any protest from either. It was just part of the day for them. That drama just had to happen every day. This went on like that for 7 years. The guinea pig got really sick because he was old, and I realized he didn't have long left. I picked him up out of the cage and put him on my lap so he didn't have to die alone. The cat came up and licked the guinea pig and lay on my lap beside him until he passed. Apparently, the cat loved him all along. The 7-year drama was just their thing. That still amazes me. Story 15. We adopted a heavily abused and partially blind dog who was full of anxiety. We also have 4 cats, but only 2 of them are brave enough to visit her. The drama is that when she hears all the cats running around playing, she wants to join, but being partially blind and with a 50-50 chance it won't be a friendly cat, she just gets sad and whines. Story 16. We adopted a puppy last year, a German Pointer mix, female. Our 6-year-old dog, a Corgi and Border Collie mix, male, was fine at first, but gradually decided he was not having any of her shenanigans and will growl or bark at her when he doesn't want to play. Now she's turned it into a game, and whenever she wants attention, she lies in front of him on her back, belly exposed, wagging her tail and wiggling her body. She never touches him during this. He always responds with low-tone growling and a random bark. It's the dog version of, "I'm not touching you." Story 17. We have 2 dogs, a very large all-black German Shepherd, and a recently adopted miniature dachshund. At first, they were getting along fine, but now the German Shepherd follows the little dachshund around everywhere he goes. They are inseparable now, and it's kind of adorable. The only real drama is that now both dogs fight for attention whenever the other seems to get some. Edit. I just got off work and saw this post blew up. I'll let the good boys know that Reddit loves them when I get home. Story 18. My 15-year-old cat just died a week ago. He had a heart condition, and we knew he was close to the end of his journey. His sister, a yellow Labrador, has been looking for him all around the house since then. She won't sleep because she is patrolling the house, looking for her brother. Story 19. Tilda dog would like the number to the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, please, and is humming Sarah McLachlan tunes under her breath because I'd rather watch basketball today than take her four-wheeling and running in the woods like she gets to do every single day except today. Her tragedy is real, you all. Alex cat looked at Natalie cat, which she doesn't like, so she screamed and poop shot across the floor. Now Natalie has taken Summer's favorite sleeping place, so Summer threw up on the carpet. Pretty much a normal day, in other words. Story 20. Old drama, but when I moved into my last apartment, my cats met my roommate's cat, Jenny. Jenny is an incredible creature. Talkative, cuddly, and weird, but also passive-aggressive. She would get a little jealous if my cats got more attention, but mostly she just got mad when she didn't get to go outside. When she got angsty, she took it out on the other cats. In my first week, she pushed my oldest off the balcony. Marzipan hit the iron fencing below and lost a tooth. Somehow, Marzipan still loved Jenny. Story 21. A friend of ours who volunteers with a feral cat capture, neuter, release program caught 2 kittens who were too friendly to release. She called us up and said, "Hey, you like cats? Foster these 2 kittens, please?" So now our 14-year-old cat Iris gets to deal with 2 rambunctious little boys. Sam the Siamese is a little afraid of her, so he doesn't bother her much, but Ralph the tabby very much wants to be friends with her. He'll even drop his favorite mouse next to her while she's sleeping. Iris was very put out that these little punks were invading her space, but she is slowly learning to tolerate the boys. She still deals out hisses and swats when one of them crosses a line, and they're respectful enough to back off. By the way, the boys are a foster fail. They're in their forever home. Story 22. I had to rehome one of my blue heelers because of littermate syndrome. She wasn't liked by our oldest dog and didn't take her hints, and when she and her sister would play randomly, they would start to attack each other. We couldn't handle the stress of them growing up together. She lives on a farm now with another cattle dog. We still visit and get multiple pictures a week. Story 23. 2 of the cats are best buddies. The third is independent and is very love-hate. Nothing to worry about. One thing they have teamed up on is Walter, our new shark vacuum cleaner. They hiss at it, and instead of hiding or going on higher furniture, they keep an eye on it. They certainly didn't like when it got too close to their food and water dishes. Then, when it returned to its base, they sit directly around it and stare at it, keeping an eye on it. Thanks for making sure it doesn't go rogue, guys. Story 24. We have 2 small dogs. One is a Boston Terrier, 4 years old, and the other is a Chihuahua mix, 8 years old. The Boston is absolutely hyper and demands attention all day, every day. The Chihuahua loves her, but he got depressed after we got her because he stopped getting undivided attention. I try to make sure he gets alone time to play so he isn't left out. The big drama between them is treat stealing. I built a small bed for them underneath one of my rolling tool carts in the garage, and they just lay under there chewing on rawhide treats while I am working on cars. The Chihuahua steals the Boston's treat when I'm not looking, and sometimes he even goes and hides it somewhere. Then, the Boston comes over and whines to me until I go find it. This is constant. Story 25. You all are not ready for this with your lovely dog and cat stories. So I have many fish tanks, and one of them contains our dramatic society. 2 clownfish, an enormous anemone, an assortment of snails including 2 cower snails, a red-lipped bivalve, a blenny, and a couple of sea moths. So the cower snails were a Valentine's present from my fiancé, and they have spines. Where do they want to go? Wherever the anemone is. Cue the anemone getting literally hurt by cower spines and climbing out of the hole it has lived in for 6 months to roll around the tank, stinging all the corals and killing most of them. The anemone looks like Cthulhu's flashlight. It's massive, easily 10 inches in diameter on the oral disc, and the stalk is like a human arm. If it had the wit to put its tentacles on the cowrie during the runaround, then it would probably be able to eat them. It has eaten a couple of unwary fish before and is known for swallowing razor clams with the shell and all. But the cowrie have not only outsmarted it at every turn, but they also appear to find a reason to ram it in the rear every day, which causes the anemone to flee at a similar speed and try to settle elsewhere, only to be bullied again a few hours later. I am looking to rehome the anemone for this reason. It's a Heteractis magnifica if anyone in the United Kingdom would like to buy it. Story 26. For once, there was no drama in the cat tent yesterday. They were so happy to be outside for the first time in 6 months. They just sat around and sniffed stuff. Dmitri and Igor always do well together in the tent, but yesterday, even angry Anya was super calm. Story 27. I have 3 dogs. 2 of them are having a mostly passive-aggressive war over toys. It started with a squeaky toy, a blue bone-shaped one. The younger dog, Reese, started showing off how wonderful the squeaky toy is. The older dog, Pepper, is very jealous, so he would carefully steal it every time Reese got the slightest bit careless. This escalated to them tossing it in the air in front of the other to taunt about who had the toy. Needless to say, some tosses resulted in the toy changing hands. Soon other toys became really contentious. Pepper especially wanted all the toys, so he lay on top of them like a dragon horde. Reese would take whatever toy he had and toss it in front of Pepper to show that there were still good toys not in his dragon horde. This culminated in a serious disagreement between them, and now all the toys are out of reach for the foreseeable future.